Good afternoon. We're at the City of Valdosta Water Treatment Plant, and this is where we provide water for the whole City of Valdosta. My name is Jason Barnes. I'm the superintendent for the City of Valdosta Water Treatment Plant. I've been here since April 10th, 1995, and we have 2 lab guys here. We have 6 operators, and there's me and my assistant. He's here as well. And we're just going to show you a little bit of what we do here at the water treatment plant and take you on a little small tour. This is our lab part, and this is where they do all their process control. And you can see all the beakers and all the instruments we have here in the water, here at the water lab. And the 2 guys, Brian and Steve, they come out here and every morning they do process, and they check pH and color and turbidity, everything that pertains for the water treatment plant to provide safe water to the citizens of Valdosta. This is where they do this at every morning. It takes a real science and, far as some chemicals that we all mess with here. We got some dangerous chemicals here, so we check that every morning, make sure our fluoride and our sulfuric and caustic is all where it needs to be as far as guidelines with EPD. We're going to come into the micro lab. This is where the micro lab is where they test the water samples for the citizens to make sure the water is safe. This is the micro part, and this is where they test for bacteriological samples. This is one of our Bac-T samples here, and you can see the water in there. And what we use is a co-alert reagent, and this co-alert is basically, if there's any bacteria in the water, it will react to the sample and cause it to turn yellow. And yellow gives us an indication that there's total coliform in the water. They do this every day. They go out, they collect samples all through the City of Valdosta. Right here on the other side, you can see the map, and this gives us a description of the whole City of Valdosta. Here we are here at the water treatment plant, and we have sample sites all through the city, all the way down. There's 4 different areas, and they go and rotate and collect samples every week to make sure all these sites within these, the businesses and the houses are all safe water that we are providing to the city.
Where do they do this?
People's houses, residential, they'll go outside a person's house and they'll turn the faucet on, let it run a little bit. They'll check for chlorine, make sure they got adequate chlorine here at their house, and then we'll get a Bac-T bottle and we'll collect that sample. But this is where it all happens at, as far as the micro, to make sure the water is safe to drink. And like I say, once they put the sample, this is an incubator. It has to stay in here for 24 hours. So tomorrow they'll come in here about 2:30 or 3 when they put these up today, and they'll make sure all these are still clear tomorrow. And if they are, then that means there's no Bac-T in the water. We're going to walk into the operator's lab. The operator, they check samples every 2 hours. The lab is only Monday through Friday, so after hours, the operator's always here. And the operator on duty comes in, and every 2 hours they check for the pH. This is our pH meter, tells us what our pH is in the water. This is our chlorine. This is how they check chlorine in the water to make sure that what we're sending out is adequate here, so it would be enough for the citizens of Valdosta. Over here on my right, this is a turbidity meter, and turbidity, it measures the cloudiness of the water. So this machine, you get a sample at a 10 mil, and you put it in there and you put it in that machine, and there's a light that's inside that machine will shine through and tell you how cloudy the water is. They make readings. Like I say, this is every 2 hours, every day of the week. No matter if it's holidays, we still have to continue to do our job. So after this, we're going to walk outside and actually show you some of the processes we have here at the water treatment plant. This is, we're outside now at the water treatment plant. Over here on my right in the woods over there, that's our well field. We have 9 wells. They are groundwater. We have pumps that pull the water, and we use the Florida aquifer, and that's where we get our water from. So we pull the water out of the ground, and then it comes out and it comes into our process. This is the ozone building here. So ozone is our primary disinfectant to make sure the water is disinfected. You can see the stripper towers there and the scrubbers. So, and we'll walk through the buildings and I'll show you basically what those do. We're in the ozone building. You can see the panel view. This is where the operators that's on duty actually check. You can see right now we're making 364 pounds of ozone per day. We have 2 generators. We have number 1 and number 2. Both generators will produce 500 pounds of ozone for each generator. The way we base that on, you can look at our flow. Right now coming in, our raw water for our wells, we are pumping 8.8 million gallons of water that we're treating right now as we speak. So basically, as they go up with a well or they go down, they'll adjust the flow on the ozone, and they'll make sure that they got enough of SCFM, which is oxygen, to make sure. So ozone is made up of oxygen and electricity. So the generators, there's electrical rods that are inside their tubes, and the oxygen, we deliver it, it comes in as a liquid, we turn it into a gas. And that oxygen goes through those generators with electricity combined and makes ozone. So that's how we make our ozone. Ozone is our primary disinfectant. It's one of the first things that we disinfect to make sure the water is safe to drink. We're going to go into the ozone generator room. It's a little noisy. You actually will be able to see what the ozone generator looks like. This is our number 1 ozone generator. You can see the power to output is about 56 kWs, and you can see the shell. That's what the oxygen is. There's oxygen that's inside there with the electricity, and that's what's making the ozone. This is our scrubbers. You can see those here. What that happens is, you can see up top is their strippers. We got 5 strippers and 5 scrubbers. Those big towers there that you see now, the water goes down, and then the sulfide, which is a rotten egg smell people smell when they come by the water treatment plant, is a gas. The gas goes backwards outside of the tank. So water's coming down, the gas releases out, comes into this small scrubber here, and we use chlorine and caustic to be able to scrub that air, that rotten egg smell out before it releases to the atmosphere. This is our, once it comes out of the stripper scrubbers, it comes into these contactor, and this is where the ozone, once it makes it, goes inside these contactors. We have number 1 and number 2. Right now we're on number 1 side, and ozone goes in there, and it's basically like an air bubble. As water is inside that contactor, it disperses ozone through the water and makes sure the water is safe to drink. These are our oxygen tanks. We have number 1 and number 2. A truck comes in and it comes as a liquid, and then you can see our vaporizers over there on the left. That turns the liquid into a gas. And then once it's into a gas, the gas goes into the ozone generator where you've already seen before. Our chemicals, so I said the ozone is our primary disinfectant. We're going to go into the chlorine. We make our own chlorine here on site at the water treatment plant, and it's our secondary disinfectant. Before we go into the door, it's a little noisy right now. We're making hypochlorite as we speak. You'll be able to see the shells. What that is there's salt that comes in on the truck. We combine salt with electricity on the electrode, and that's what makes chlorine. Just like if you went to the ocean, the salt water, you combine that with electricity, you could make chlorine. And we make our own 0.8% here at the water treatment plant. So as we go in here, it'll be a little noisy, but you can see the actual process of the electrode making bleach. You can actually see the bleach being formed right now. Right now it's making hypochlorite, 0.8% with salt and electricity. This is our chlorine pump room. So you can see all our pumps here. Numbers 7 and 6 go to the system. So these two pumps here are mainly the pumps that put bleach or hypochlorite to the city to make sure the water is safe. The other 5 that are here actually help with the hydrogen sulfide gas that we talked about that goes into the scrubber and cleans that sulfide gas up before it's released to the atmosphere. This is our phosphate room. Phosphate is used in the city as a corrosion inhibitor. It helps to keep the pipes from being corroded together. So this is where the phosphate comes in on the truck, and this is where our 2 pumps here pump it to the city. And let me remind you that all our chemicals here are regulated by EPD. So this is our fluoride. This is our fluoride bulk tank. We use it just like for teeth fluoride. We use it in the water as well. On this side is our sulfuric. This is our sulfuric acid. We use sulfuric acid. Our pH is kind of a high coming in, so we use sulfuric to lower our pH at the initial start to a 6.6, which is better sulfide removal of the rotten egg smell. On this side is our caustic. So we use our caustic to raise our pH back up to a neutral before it goes out to the distribution. This is our diesel generator. This is what provides power. So if we just say we lost power to the plant, these generators here, there's one here and there's another one inside the other room. These are what keeps the power and keeps the plant running if we do have an interruption in power. So each one of these can provide and keep the whole plant running for many, many hours. This concludes our tour of the water treatment plant. Like I say, my name is Jason Barnes, superintendent here. If you have any questions or you would like to take a tour, once all this COVID-19, we've got kind of very limited people right now, but we're still keeping the plant and keeping the water to the city that is safe. But if you ever want to take a tour, you can always call the water treatment plant and we can set you up for a tour. You'll be able to see what we do day in, day out.